Welcome everybody to the last match of the CCA League Season 4. Coming here today, we had all the grand finals for the previous weekend. Now we gotta wrap this entire season up with a little bow, let's say. Goomies of VCU versus UCSD Esports Navy of, well, UCSD. My name is Kyon. Randy joins me on the mic. First of all, before we begin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just fine. I am excited to get into this set right here. I am definitely excited to see who. This is third place, right? For third place?
Yes, it's third place.
I am super excited to see which one of these teams will get third place because Div 4 was an interesting division, in my opinion. I feel like every match here that I've seen was really entertaining to watch and really fun to play.
Oh yeah, no kidding, especially if a fellow Division 4 captain here on the mic. I'm sure you had your fair share of Division 4 matchups you've had during your time, which I'm not going to bring up one of them. Let's just for your sanity. But let's set the stage here as both teams are basically ready to go. This is actually almost a rematch of the regular season between Goomies versus UCSD Esports Navy. UCSD Navy won their respective regular season set 4-1 against Goomies. Sure, it's a little bit of a grudge match to say the least, as both teams are loaded in. Mako Zone's your first map of today, as we take a look at both teams here. For those tuning in, UCSD Navy's on the blue, orange side is Goomies. I take a look at the weapons, pretty much almost your standard fare. The only big notable thing, Z-Beans on the Octobrush Devo.
I honestly am I'm a personal Octobrush. I love Octobrush. I love using Octobrush. I feel like it should be used more in comp play, but I understand why people don't use it. But I feel like in the right hands, it can be an absolute menace.
Absolutely, and I mean, if you can get so much value out of that Octobrush, especially if you have the beacons and the Inkster that you can take advantage of, that's going to be very key. But basically, no steps have been lost. Delayed white, by the way. Goomies has gone forward, delayed forward down on top of it. Now, the Octobrush on Z-Bean did go down just very quickly. There two, by the way, quickly down in succession there. Goomies is going to be starting off this game with a quick deficit there as the clear has been popped. They use the crab tank trying to put paint down on that zone. See if they can get any more support, but the Nautilus is down on top of it. Randy, it's still UCSD's Navy's zone to have.
Yeah, Goomies is going to need to be really careful by their drops because both the Bucket and the Octobrush have quite an advantage around those areas. So retake is going to be a bit difficult for them. As we're seeing right here, they're struggling to get back in and push UCSD Navy out of the zone.
Yeah, just a little bit of a struggle right now for the Goomies trying to get UCSD Navy out of the zone right now. They gotta use these missiles. This has to be a very fast pusher, but the Dry Saucer's gone down, so is the Whitebird Jackal. That's 2 down. Not gonna help matters for Goomies unless they're able to paint over the zone. They cannot do that. It's 3 down, and the respawns do not help Goomies whatsoever. We start this third place set with a 100-0 victory for UCSD Navy to kick us off.
That is really impressive. UCSD Navy is certainly not backing down from this. They are coming in strong with the victory, 100-0, just in the first match. Impressive, I must say.
Yeah, and this team basically had pretty much pulled their way through to this playoff season. If I'm not mistaken, out of their Division 4, an undefeated record in their group. Unfortunately, dropping the semifinals matchup. That's how they got to this third place matchup, of course, and still wanting to finish this season, at least getting third place overall in Division 4. Goomies, of course, having to start with a quick deficit here. I'm sure they may need to be waking up just a little bit here, I'll say, for the evening here. Down 1-0, but there's still plenty of games to go. Best of 9 now versus the best of 7 they've had to deal with in the regular season, so a lot of chances to adapt.
It's definitely a mental game for Goomies right now. Losing that quickly in the first game is probably not doing very good for their mental state. But Splatoon is a lot about how you deal with things mentally, and if they're able to just stay motivated, then they might be able to bring this back really quickly.
Absolutely, and once again, I'll just highlight here real quick from that rematch in the regular season. Goomies, of course, losing that set 1-4, or UCSD Navy really winning 4-1 there, as UCSD Esports Navy did go undefeated in the regular season. I had that information correct, 5-0 record, and then Goomies was able to finish off the season. That's their only loss, by the way, the only blemish in their regular season record. So a little bit of a surprise to see everybody from Division 4 Group 3 find their way into this third place matchup. And for Goomies right now, yes, you mentioned before, bit of a mental game. You might be tilted just a tiny bit, but this is just the first game. Getting yourselves more acquainted against a very familiar foe, I'll say for that much. I'd imagine, especially from previous experience where you may have dropped games or dropped during the set, or maybe even dropped in the set, there's still some time for your team to just mentally reset.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that both of these teams do have a bit of a history with the CCA beyond this season. Am I correct? Yeah. So I am sure that both of these teams, if they have similar members, they're no stranger to this mental game. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how Goomies continues on with these games.
I mean, again, just taking it one game at a time here. As it looks like we're still just waiting for one of our members here. So I hope everybody has enjoyed what this season had to offer it here. As we are getting some live updates here. Basically, we've made it. It's actually kind of incredible that we made it all the way to the end of this fourth season, with this one being the last game that we have. So I'm sure it means a lot for maybe not just everybody who's here, but also everybody who's tuning in, just saying, "Oh my goodness, season 4 is almost done. We're almost to the end."
Dude, like, I'm not even playing these matches, and I got the shivers.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm sure you would really want to be in the spot where your team could definitely wanted to participate in playoffs. By me, especially if we talk about it from a spectator standpoint too. Like, we've gone through the season, and it's been a wild ride. But enough talk about that. All the subs are in. We got ourselves the second map, which, by the way, is Sturgeon Shipyard Tower Control, the second map of this set. Now, what are the adjustments that Gumi's gonna have? These are some really nice changes. You got the ballpoint, the sloshing machine as well to help assist. Clefable, I believe, is making their change over to the regular slosher for these comp changes so far.
The AoE with Bubble on the machine is going to be very useful in tower control, especially if the other team is is starting to snowball in on them. That AoE is going to be really good at getting them off the tower, but their zap does go down at the beginning of the game, which is not looking very good for them.
Yeah, but there's still that range you have to respect. Fox just got a splat onto Clefable, taking full advantage of the range that was there. Navy's gonna probably have to just deter themselves back a little bit there, as the Trizuka being fired from Opal, not able to get the point-blank shot, and that is just a quick elimination there. But Goomies will have to just try to play a little bit more aggressively here with that sloshing machine, trying to get a few more in, but not able to do just that. 8-Jet got 2, I believe. That was indeed a 2, and that is a 3rd on that 8-Jet. If I'm not mistaken, that is either 2 or 3 out of the 8-Jet. That's still a lot of value, nevertheless. Onto the first checkpoint for Goomies.
This is going to be really good for Goomies, because on this map, Sturgeon Shipyard, getting past this checkpoint right here is really important for being able to snowball. And if they're able to just snowball in on UCSD Navy, then that is going to be very good for them. And it seems like that is happening, going 2 down on the Navy once again.
Yeah, once again, 2 down on Navy. Now, Navy, this is going to be the quick checkpoint being lost. No more checkpoints to boot. If Navy starts to lose members left and right through some of these picks here, which Jet just got, Sauce is down. No more Sauce for you tonight, but it will be 3 down on top. And ZB just trying to splat from range, but not enough to get everybody out of the tower. And we are trading KOs blow for blow. Both teams tied up 1-1.
They are just at each other's necks with these first 2 games. Jeez, this is incredible.
I have a lot to process here. First of all, the change to the ballpoint. I gotta double check who was on ballpoint. It was Fox. Fox got so much splat stairs. We do get to see the fist bump in action. Fox got so much value out of the 8-Jet. I think the initial push, just for note, it was 2 or 3 down if I'm not mistaken. It was at least 2. Mm-hmm. And then as you mentioned earlier, it just snowballed out of control. The defense for Navy just crumbled.
I personally am a bit of a tower control propagandist, but I understand that it can be a snowballing mode. But regardless, it takes a lot of skill to be able to snowball in on the other team, and I respect Goomies for being able to get that initial push all the way down to the final checkpoint.
I mean, and that's a key thing too, because that, as you mentioned, that's with the way Surgeon Tower Control kind of plays out, things can snowball in a hurry there. And I do applaud the Navy was giving that a valiant effort, but once they just lost sight of that initial push, it just pretty much it was game over right there, then and there. Now we go past Surgeon Tower Control, got 2 KOs so far to our belt for this best of 9. Now we gotta go to the 3rd map here, with Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker being the next one. This is a very, unsurprisingly, this is a very popular map combination. I'm sure both teams might be a little bit well conditioned for this particular map.
I really like Rain. I'm not too much of a fan of Humpback Pump Track in general, but Rainmaker on Humpback is pretty solid in my opinion. But I might be a bit biased because tent user right here. Love using tent on Rainmaker, Humpback.
So I think the next time I'm gonna need to give you a map that gives you a lot of advantages with 10 down on that side. let me think here. What's in the list? Mincemeat, Eeltail? No. jokes aside there. If I look forward to this particular map, basically I don't think really any team has that momentum. It was basically we're trading KOs left and right there. Though I would be intrigued to see how both teams are kind of feeling now, because you're effectively going from a best of 9 to now effectively a best of 7, having to win 4 the rest of the way there. Now, what are the adjustments that Navy's gonna have to do? This is also a very small, a very condensed map, so I wouldn't be surprised if there are changes. Okay, so Ballpoint is kind of subbed out. Probably want to use that as their game plan for Sturgeon, but we do see actually I think the same come from Navy. So really the big change is coming out of Goomies.
Yeah, I see they switched out their machine for the Tri Nouveau, which honestly, I can understand that. Tri Nouveau has Cooler, and Cooler is very important here on Rainmaker because you're going to go down quite a bit, and it is a bit of a stally game mode. Having that respawn instantly is going to be a huge benefit if they're able to get those specials.
Yeah, I mean, special is going to be key. This is going to be Goomies running away from everybody else, and that is actually somehow the first checkpoint, just by going 2 down and a delayed wipeout on top of it. They still managed to get so much value out of that by just breaking through the first checkpoint. That's still very successful. Yes, you were wiped out, but they'll take that any day, except if you start losing members left and right. Opal gets 1 out of the picture. They pick up this Rainmaker. Now we're going to be trading checkpoints both ways.
This is very interesting. Both teams have gotten to the checkpoint. At this point, it's just a matter to see who can push the farthest up to the final pedestal. And it looks like the Goomies are stalling UCSD Navy pretty good. They're not really able to push that Rainmaker too far, but they do get the lead.
Yeah, they do get the lead, but it's also a delayed 3 down. Goomies defense once again going down there. They do lose 2. Now it has to come down to the rest of the members just spawning in. But I love some of the protection that Opal was just running until Sauce gets taken out the doors. It just took him out right there, and it's only going to be 32 points. Maybe actually a little bit more Clefable, and Opal's going to try to be a little bit more greedy there if they want to do just that, but I think they're just going to hold firm there as the Beacons is kind of weighing the wings. Z-Bean is sharking right there, trying to see if they can pick this one up. They do trade. The Rainmaker's just stuck in its path, but that Beacon, I'm going to be curious to see if there's going to be something sneaky coming out of that Beacon if Goomies isn't going to notice it. Nope, not anymore. I take that back.
Right from here, the UCSD Navy it's going to struggle to get past that final push because right here it is very good defending spot for the defending team, but they are able to get it and get a lot more points before going down. That is very impressive right there.
And that's a wipe, out to boot. This should be the dunk here, unless Goomies has one last ditch splat there, as Opal's just trying to protect themselves. Not quite there, just 1 point remaining, and now it's 3 down. They are not going to be able to get this KO anymore. They got to pick this one up and then just drop it down to lower ground to prevent a sneaky push, but I think there might be content just letting this reset, but they got to make sure that this resets for a bit. Nope, now they're dropping this down. Effectively speaking, Goomies has to get the KO. UCSD Navy had a great push all the way down, just not quite the KO yet.
The nerves must be on for Goomies right here. Needing that KO to win is very stressful in Rainmaker. It's very difficult to get past that 1 point on the final pedestal, and the Rainmaker ends up going down. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. I would like to see how Goomies has this response. They still have a decent amount of time. Now, some of their credit here is that this is pump track, so pushes can swing in a hurry there. But going 2 down is not going to help matters. Now they're going to have to play a little bit more defensively there. Delayed 3. On top of it, Sauce is just going to pick up this Rainmaker there. Now, they could try to push for this kill, or they are looking to try to stall this one out effectively, or just trying to not play this one a little bit patiently here, because they know Goomies has to just go straight to them in order to get the lead back there. So it is going to be 2 down. Fox is just trying to do their best to make sure that they can save this game for the Goomies here.
Of course, yes. This Rainmaker, I think that it's just going to stall for as long as possible to prevent Goomies from being able to grab the Rainmaker and push it past that 1 point on the final pedestal. So it's not really worth going for that last 1 point. It's very difficult for Goomies to get there already. So stalling it out, as we see them doing right here, is probably the right play. Oh, but they just have to push it, though. This is interesting.
It's simply because they got two down in that process there. They take out the Nulls. Now, jumping to lower ground may have not been the play. It is going to be 3 down there, but this Rainmaker is going to explode, so Sauce is just going to have to just retreat. Yeah, this is just going to be a quick explosion here out of Sauce. Goodbye, Sauce. No longer available. So I think they just recognize, yeah, they can't get this push up any further. Randy, it is 50 seconds left. Right now, Goomies has, well, they did have a special that was available. Not anymore. Goomies is still dropping one by one. I was about to ask if there's anything that they can do to try to swing this back in their favor, but Goomies is still having to just spawn right in, just trying to save it for their team.
Yeah, the Goomies are going to need to grab that Rainmaker really quickly and get it as far as they can if they're going to want to win this match. It's not looking super good for them, but there is still some hope that they can beat the UCSD Navy right here. Not looking very promising, but I believe in them.
I mean, hopefully the belief is there. There's gonna be 10 seconds now. Special usage is heavily favoring Navy there as the Trizuka shot just landed, and now they gotta get the rest of the Goomies back to pop the Rainmaker and try to pick up this one up. But that is a double, by the way, from Opal. Opal's right there, and maybe trying to get a few more splats as this is gonna be the overtime push coming in here. Zap does go down. Opal is gonna be sharking. Goomies is not gonna recognize this until one of them had to be there as the sacrificial member there at the boot. This is 2 down. UCSD Navy is holding their fort very nicely there. Zbean is trying to poke from range, and this is just now the rest of Goomies just having to just run for the hills and just try to be in the safer ground, but to no avail. And UCSD Navy wins this 3rd map here in this best of 9.
That was a very, very interesting game to watch. Unfortunately, Goomies were not able to react to that Zuka. It came out too quickly, got 2 picks, I believe, and that was enough for UCSD Navy to hold their ground and stop Goomies from getting that final push on them.
Now I've been curious with the way Goomies and Navies have been playing. If there's anything that you've noticed there between both these teams, because yeah, Navy just had a strong push, and Goomies was kind of just dropping left and right there, just trying to even play. I think for like almost 80% of that match, maybe 70%, they were having to basically Goomies were having to play in defense for as much as they could have. I'd be curious to see any of your thoughts on how that map went in particular for either team.
I feel like in that game, at the very least, Goomies was pretty strong. They positioned fairly well. But one thing that I think was to their detriment was that they took quite a few fights by themselves, and that often had them down at least one player at any given time for the most part. But hopefully they can come back from that in Clam Blitz.
Yeah, and this is gonna be and this is crab-like clams. You got 2 avenues to work with here. So, but to your point, if Goomies was kind of staggering and just dropping down on some of the individual fights happening throughout, they may want to try to clean that up just a tiny bit. As you've noticed, their Navy was being very punishing there, especially with some of the Trizuka shots that landed and everything else in play, really. So I would not be. Let's put it this way: I don't think there will be any surprises from Navy. This might just be the same weapons we're gonna see. So Goomies gameplay wise and combo wise, I wouldn't be surprised if we see any adjustments here.
I would be. I personally think that Goomies is going to have some counter pick if they recognize that UCSD Navy has been going with pretty consistent comps as of this point right here. So seeing some counterplay might be interesting, and probably is what Goomies needs to win this match right here.
I mean, the big thing though is, unsurprisingly, it ultimately depends on the weapons they feel comfortable dishing out here, especially with this being a crab-like clams game where pushes are just gonna be firing in. Now, Goomies will need to think of some of the magic that got them through Insurgent Tower Control, where they had basically where they won a lot of fights and then just snowballed it through. So this is not one of those modes there where it's as snowball as you can get, because you got to do this one push at a time. There's a nice little change there. Back to the weapon that have got them success right out of the gate. It is Fox back on ballpoint duty.
Fox on ballpoint, I've noticed that they are very threatening. Their ballpoint skills are pretty solid, and you gotta respect their range and their painting ability before you decide to make any sort of push.
But the question is, can Navy position themselves in such a way where they don't get caught by the range of the ballpoint that Fox is willing to dish out? That's really the big $1 million question. Let's say their rare is going to get 1. This is going to be a bit of a trade though, as Fox did go down, and now Navy's just running amok. Their Opal gets 2 out of the picture before going down with their lives. This is going to be the rest of Goomies now playing a little bit defensively there. So Zador's just trying to fire right at the bridge, right at the grates, but I think their last Trizuka shot expired. Fox is down for the 2nd time so far this game, and then it's the 2nd member going down on top of it for Goomies. Navy has a lot of control. They don't have a power clamp, but look at the control that they just gained from winning on some of these fights.
getting Fox off of those grates at the beginning of the game was definitely the play for them right there. And now they have that ability to push all the way up into their spawn, and hopefully, yeah, right here, we see them pushing up into their spawn, scoring some points. And once again, Goomies, they have staggered a little bit, especially dropping down on that left right there. The UCSD Navy was able to punish on that. Are they going to be able to come back before UCSD Navy? Ooh, I was going to say, hopefully they can come back and not drop too many players down before Navy scores too many points, but it seems like they're dropping. Oh, 3 down! Right away, like all at once. That is very impressive, and it seems like they're going to get that wipeout.
Yeah, they just got the wipeout, and now they're just having to patiently wait for the clam basket, and this is the worst position for any member to be in, is to have to play defense for the entire game, and the rest of UCSD Navy has trapped Goomies right into their base. They're winning all of these fights here, and they're just throwing all the power clans up in the world. Opal is finally down for their troubles there. Goomies just has to stop the madness effectively from going right along. And there is the 8-jet. They gotta find value here. This is just me to jump out. Opal's down. Nice little find on the 8-jet. This should hopefully slow down maybe by just a bit. But Goomies is gonna have to play from a massive deficit.
They're going to need to play these team fights very well in order to push all the way up into UCSD Navy's basket, which is really difficult, I must say. Like, that ballpoint, though it's able to get a lot of assists with many fights, it is something that is very difficult to actually do and get all the way up into the basket.
Yeah, the big thing too is they gotta not just get the power glass, they just gotta get any semblance of control. Goomies is having a good job doing that rare use of that crafting just to get paint down and make sure that they can build the space needed for Goomies to strike big. They do have a power climb that is available, just trying to go for the alternate side there. They're trying to fight everybody from all sorts of directions there. It's a bit of a messy fight, kind of a brawl if you will, but nobody really in position. They're hesitating just a tiny bit. Now they switch positions. The jump for the power climb goes on the right hand side. They gotta walk over the grates now, but where is that position gonna be at this point? Goomies still can't push up just yet. Navy is still lurking large, especially with Opal Strizuka just getting them out of the picture. They just don't have space to work with there. Fox does get one, but that's really it.
They were able to take space, Goomies were able to take space pretty good, which was able to delay, or I guess prolong that push that they attempted right there for a while, and it was quite admirable. Unfortunately, they did kind of hesitate a lot right there, and were not able to get that score onto the UCSD Navy's basket.
I mean, and some of the struggles there was just Navy was just finding them in every direction that they were basically going for, and Navy's right now in very firm control. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to prevent themselves from getting any pushes there. As Opal does find one, and a second one right away. Strizuka with so much value right out of the gate. Now Opal's just lurking large. Opal's just on a mission, well, until they go down and just like that. But either way, Goomies has about 52 seconds left. It's still doable. Don't get me wrong, but right now Navy's been on the driver's seat for a good chunk of this matchup there as they actually break through this barrier once more. But will they get any more out of this one? They will take 2, and this will at least keep this push open here for just a tiny bit more. But Fable does go down by the end of it, but it's now down to 20 points remaining here. Things are looking very dire for Goomies here in Grab Leg Clams.
Yes, indeed. Navy is making it very, very difficult for Goomies to be able to come back. Making a push to below 11 is going to be very difficult, especially with only 17 seconds left in the game before overtime. In overtime, you don't really got much time. They're going to need to take space really quickly if they're going to want to win this match.
I mean, it has to start with the crab take there. Rare's gonna have to hold on to this one. At least this buys themselves time for OT. There, Z-Mean's just caught in a bad spot there. So is that 8-jet able to take out another member there, but running straight into the bomb. But at least Bubble picks up this Rainmaker. This is the only push they have left in the tank. But look at the amount of members that are surrounding it. It is 2 power clams in, but is there gonna be any follow-up? The rest of Navy's there. Goomies just has to rush in. This just has to be a desperation move, and at this point, Goomies is just stalled where they stand, and UCSD Navy wins this Crab Lake Capitals map very convincingly, even with the last attempted push from Goomies.
That was very admirable for them to get all the way down to 60 very quickly, but unfortunately they were not able to hold their ground before the basket closed and overtime had ended. So congratulations to UCSD Navy for winning that. It was they started off very strong and kept their ground pretty well.
Now this is looking pretty familiar. This is almost looking like familiar territory for Goomies at this point. You're up 1, but UCSD Navy has won the rest to reverse ties to make sure that the script doesn't repeat itself in the regular season. At this point, Navy's just been running amok. You have to find a way. There's players that you need to shut down, Rennie. I'd be curious to see whom Goomies kind of needs to put a lot of attention to, because Navy has just kind of been running with it for the past few maps.
Yeah, Navy has been really good at just holding their ground, despite they don't really have too much range, so anchoring is a bit difficult, but they are doing it pretty well. And I gotta give them credit for that. They are very competent players, and you know what? It makes sense that they got this far.
Now, some of the members I have eyes on for this particular matchup, Opal has just found Opal with the follow from the Trizuka where they can take out multiple members at a time, just going wild at the front lines. They also got ZB there, who has done a great job with that Octobrush Nouveau, especially with not just beacon placement, but also Octobrush play on top of it, and then the rest of the members have been able to support them. But I wouldn't be surprised if the game playing from Goomies changes from here. They need to find ways to just shut down some of those members that are just basically running them out of town. I'd imagine though they might be trying to figure out, okay, which player is kind of just giving us fits at this point, as we'll be loading into ship shape zones momentarily. But I'd imagine Rainy, they're probably having their eyes on a few players in Navy. I'm thinking Opal and ZB on how to shut them down as soon as they can.
Yeah, getting down Opal's ballpoint. Am I correct?
Well, Opal was the shot. Effectively, they had the Trizuka.
Okay, who was it? Who was the ballpoint? Who was it?
That was Fox from Google.
Oh, it was Fox. Yeah, no. Opal. Yeah, no. Opal was that shot that got that double pick with that Zuka in the mid game last game, right?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure I got up my facts.
I got you.
But yeah, I'm thinking that Opal's gonna stay on the shot, because shot is just overall just a very solid weapon, even on zones. Like zones on this map, shot is probably a really good pick.
And I imagine, ooh, actually, this is the first change, but this is the change that I'm sure that might be giving Goomies fits here. Double shot or double Trizuka, if you will, and it's effectively the similar-ish comp that Goomies is trying to have. So Goomies gameplay-wise needs to adjust, but now they got to worry about the threat of the double shot or double Trizuka, if you will, as Goomies will take this first point right away.
Once again, oh, Fox really well collapsed onto that slosher, and I was gonna say that is a really good spot for the slosher. They're able to pick over those walls, and Goomies really doesn't need to worry about that ledge right there, not getting picked right there. But Fox did a really good job at shutting down that slosher before they could find any picks. Yeah,
for sure. And now Goomy still has a lot of control around this point. They're just the rest of Navy's is just kind of spread out, if you will. They're almost just trying to find anybody out of the picture there, but they're gonna be a few members down. Focus, I'd imagine, for Navy is just to paint over the zone, but the doors just chase them out. They're now stuck in the respawn point for now, as the trip strikes have been dished out there. Navy is gonna at least force penalty points there. ZB is down once more. And Goomies is just trying to use that Trizuka to build themselves some range. Clefable and Ruka is going to be pretty much dished out of that sector. And this will be Goomies. Now Goomies just has to punish Navy big time, trying to get more points out of the board.
With Navy not having the players on the map that they need to support them to stop Goomies from scoring any more points, it is going to be very difficult for them to capture the zone, give them the penalty points, and possibly take some points of their own. But they are able to find a few picks, but they also do go down 2 members right here, which, once again, they do not have the players to keep that zone contested for very long, but they are holding it for fairly well. But that Zuka is able to find a pick, but it also goes down.
Yeah, that's a nice find onto Buka there, and that will at least give Gooby some time to get the zones back there, but Navy is still definitely valiantly fighting hard despite the early deficits that they have. Fox, with that inkjet, can Fox find any value so far out of the inkjet, kind of hovering away from the trip strike? They're zoned out big time. Now able to find anybody else is going to be put back to the recalls there, but Goomies has lost 2. They do trade with the shot, but that's Opal down with the shot, and so is Buka. Both shots did go down, but at the end of the day, Navy was still able to capture the zone big time. A bit of a mosh pit, let's effectively say, but Opal's right in front, and that takes 3 out of the picture for Goomies. This is Navy's time to get all those points. Effectively, I believe, a delayed wipe on top of it.
This is UCSD Navy's chance to hold their ground and maybe find the lead if they can. But if Fox is able to find that, oh my god, I cannot remember who the players are. If the ballpoint is able to find some picks with that jet, then they might be able to stop that push, and they are able to contest the zone. Oh, but they end up going down. That's unfortunate. And UCSD Navy is able to find the lead while still being able to hold their ground and stopping Goomies from taking the zone back.
This is why you don't let Opal wake up and you're that shot. Opal just went deep and got so many members out of the picture. Now Goomies is down to 10 points remaining. They have to start rushing in. Trip Tricks to firmly secure the zone as much as they can. This is now the rest of Goomies. They're just trying to rush in and paint over it. And the rest of Navy knew the assignment right then and there, but it is going to be 3 points remaining. Navy goes 2 down. Goomies also goes 2 down, but that is still ZB lurking for the side, able to get the flank in, and that will be UCSD Navy still winning out on the zone, but they got to get through these penalty points next.
It is not over for Goomies. They still have a chance of coming back. It's not looking too promising, but you know, it's not over until it's over. And considering how good they were able to hold their space when they had the zone, I think that they still have a good shot of winning this match and bringing themselves back.
But it has to start with getting the rest of Navy out of there. That's a nice try, Zuka. Fine, but they're still losing fights on both sides of the map, and that is 3 down. Not good news for Goomies here. This is just the 10 missiles to just try to throw them away out of there, and Anarchy is just having to retreat back to get the rest of the support for their team. Everybody has to paint over the zone. They don't do that anymore. Not enough for sure. Trip Trick secures it. UCSD Navy, for that matter, is at match point. One more map to go for the UCSD Navy to secure third.
Ooh, I can imagine that the nerves in Goomies are really high right now. They just must be shaking in their boots. But you know what? Being able to keep a good mental state is key for winning, especially when you're down so many losses. Is going to be crucial for them to keep their head in the game and just remember that they should not back down yet. They still have a chance of coming back, and if they are, I mean, what a final set that would be, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, it wouldn't have it any other way here. But obviously, if Goomies wants to help, you know, not just themselves, but also the people that are watching this match here too, they gotta find ways to get UCSD Navy out of there. I mentioned before, Opal is just on a tear right now for UCSD Navy. ZB also still finding picks left and right. Goomies is having the right assignment, basically trying to find members to shut down there. Look, it was just the added wrinkle to UCSD Navy's setup there with that other shot, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. They still managed to, in a critical 2 down, Noble finds another member out, and then it just went out of control. Goomies, I'd imagine, they gotta find ways to shut down Opal and ZB as soon as possible.
We are back on tower control, which is the point that Goomies scored on UCSD Navy, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Goomies come back right here, but they do gotta keep in mind that taking good team fights is crucial for them to get victory, especially on the left side of the tower path right here on Tower Control Inkblot Art Academy. If they're able to keep their wits about them and just take good team fights, then they might be able to bring this back. And Tower Control, as we saw earlier on, does seem to be their game mode. They do seem pretty strong and capable of snowballing in on UCSD Navy once they get the tower play.
And they're going to have to replicate the exact same, well, not the exact same, I should say, but the same success that got them the victory in that Surgeon Tower Control map from earlier, in that second map overall. Goomies needs to win to stay alive. UCSD Navy winning this one will secure them third place in Division 4. I'd imagine Chad will have teams that they are rooting for right now. As we do take a look at the compositions. Back to the cooler, by the way, for on the side of UCSD Navy. So they go to the cooler with the NZAP. Effectively, this is still trying to play to Goomies' strengths there, but Goomies, of course, will have the NZAP as their cooler choice compared to Tri Nouveau.
Once again, Bubble is on the sloshing machine, which we saw was very promising in the last tower control map, and they are able to find a pick on the Octobrush, and then the zap goes down on Navy. And this is going to be very good for Goomies to be able to get this push past the checkpoint, maybe, unless UCSD Navy is able to find a pick onto the machine right there. But they are able to push it past that point, and they are showing a lot of promise getting past this checkpoint if they're just able to stay on the tower. But those strikes coming out are going to push them away, and it's so many picks right there, just a wipe. With the blink and you miss it, a wipeout, and now the UCSD Navy is back in the game. They can Oh, geez. I don't even know what to say here.
I got you covered because that is one of my favorite phrases to say. It's blink and you miss it for sure. The trip strikes gets 2 out of the picture, and then they lost all the associated fights. That is going to go out of control in a flash there as UCSD Navy wrestles lead back. It's still early in the match there, but the Goomies has to stay alive. 2 down right away. Opal is now on tower riding duties there as Zbean's going to be the one that's up front. They have to get Zbean out of there, just fully respecting that Zbean can just still lurk large. But this is a critical second checkpoint right now, as it is going to be 2 members dropping. Should hopefully be the tower being stalled, and it looks like they will. UCSD Navy will just retreat back just a tiny bit. Lead changes to UCSD Navy for that push.
Goomies were able to hold their ground pretty well. Sure, they did give up quite a few points, but staying alive is crucial right around that left side of the map right there. And they were able to stay alive, but 2 down on both teams right now. It's just a matter of stalling right here. But that bomb getting that pick right there. Unfortunate. It seems like Goomies is able to stop them from pushing that tower any further into their platform.
Yeah, and Rare just found Zbean outside. Zbean was just trying to make something crazy happen, but to no avail. Rare gonna have to escape there. It is Opal just lurking large. Can Opal win this fight? Yes, Opal does win that fight. It's back to 2, now 3 down. This is gonna be UCSD Navy still right at the start. I think they're just gonna have to escape for just a bit, but it is indeed a delayed wipe. UCSD Navy continues to push.
Goomies is gonna need to try their best to not stagger because as we saw right there, the shot is very competent on UCSD Navy. They're finding a lot of picks right here, and that is very good for them. Goomies is going to need to find their way back into the... find their ground back here on the map to stop UCSD Navy from knocking them out, and hopefully to find another push. But yeah, they do take 3 picks, which is really good for them, picking up more space, hopefully getting the control of mid, and Bean right here is able to find some picks while they're trying to stall the mid, but they do go down. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, well, things still not looking great for Goomies right there, as again, another delayed wipe. Wait, nobody's gonna be on tower riding duties because they're gonna try to set everybody up to this spot. Opal is left unchecked. Bubble did find them, and they're not able to win that duel. Bubble wins out in the end, which is gonna be critical for Goomies to still have a few more seconds left in the tank, and they get 2 down out of the picture. UCSD Navy still with a very decent lead, but it is tower control. That momentum can swing by in a flash here. I'd imagine with 3 specials alive, Goomies is gonna need to use these specials very well.
That inkjet coming out is going to be very threatening for the Navy. If they can find some picks, that would be great. And they do find 1 pick. Let's see if they can find any more before... Nope, they recall, but that was really good for them. But they don't really have anybody near the tower. Impressively, they were able to push quite a few points and go 3 down on the UCSD Navy. That is huge right there. If they are able to find the tower once again with that pick on the Octobrush, this is looking very promising for the Goomies. This is their chance right now to take the lead and hopefully secure the victory for them.
And ultimately, this is going to be a critical time as I believe the Trizuka gets 2 right away from the right stack. That is going to be key to stopping Goomies' push and then secure 3rd place and way more as the shot does go down. And this is just a bit of a messy fight across the board, but it is going to be 2 alive for UCSD Navy, 1 alive for Goomies. This will effectively mean they'll basically try to spread everybody out. I don't think they're going to try to push too much of their advantage here. 30 seconds left to go. This has to be the Goomies' time to strike big. This is their last chance, unless UCSD Navy wants to secure this one for themselves. They got 18 seconds to do just that. Fox is just lurking on the right-hand side. The shot does go down by the end of it. Trip strikes being dished out there. Gets Fox out of the picture. They do keep this tower right along. Fox has to be the one on the 8 jet there, and that Ancient can't fight anybody else. Is shut down. That is a huge find. Clip Babel does go down. It is 2 members down. Somebody has to be on the top of UCSD Navy, and that is it. UCSD Navy wins 3rd place in Division 4, winning the set over Goomies 5-1.
And what an impressive match that was right there. Goomies never out of the picture up until that very end. They still had a chance, but UCSD Navy being able to stagger Goomies very well and hold their ground, hold their lead. Good job to both teams, but good job to UCSD Navy for getting 3rd place in CCA Season 4 Div 4. This is very impressive for both teams, if I do say so myself.
I agree with you. Very impressive for both teams to still get the results that they have, but I'd imagine Goomies wanted to get that itch to get this one even more with that regular season loss in mind, but they don't. Unfortunately, the script effectively continues again. another set loss to UCSD Navy with 1 win in the record, but I gotta give them so much credit though. That certain tower control victory was insane, was really huge, because without that, things could have gotten out of control in a hurry there. But UCSD Navy still stayed firm. That kill could have been defining, but at the end of the day, UCSD Navy just rolled their way through. And huge shout outs for UCSD Navy. Opal and Zebin just doing so well for their team.
Getting this far for the Goomies is nothing to scoff at. While they might have lost the 3rd place right here, getting this far is still quite the accomplishment. And once again, good job to everybody on Goomies. This is nothing to be too disappointed about. Getting this far is definitely an accomplishment, and you should be proud of yourselves.
Yeah, and we are getting word, unfortunately, there is no CCA tradition to be had because both teams will not be going to all 9. A very, I get it, but part of me dies a little here. But we're gonna wrap this up here, Rainy. We did final thoughts on the set. Well, actually, you already provided final thoughts there. My apologies on that. That's me being a little behind there. But I'm gonna put this out for those who are tuning in. This was the last broadcast, I believe, for the 4th season of the CCA League. Randy, you've had your fair share of games that you've played, of course, with your team. I believe the Grizz Tacos, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. How has the season been for you?
I really enjoyed the season. This was Bridgewater State University's first CCA season, and I'm pretty proud of how far we got. I met some really great people here. This has been a really great experience overall, both playing, commentating, and just watching these matches. It's very entertaining. If you're looking to get into the Splatoon scene, CCA is definitely one of the places to be.
Definitely, as we do get our lovely production from Neptune showing all the stats there. By the way, shoutouts to Neptune in production, showing us all the stats that we saw here. By the way, first game, Cliff Fable also the unsung hero for this. Scott, hold up! That Rainmaker said I gotta note there. Opal with a 27 for context. That's why I had Opal on the radar. By the way, to boot, that was a performance for the ages from Opal. There to boot, and the rest of the Goomies had to play catch up. I hope people took notice of that as we are still going through this one. Again, this was the reign of Opal. You see that? Yeah, 22 from Opal.
Dude, Opal's back must be broken right now with that carry.
I mean, the entire team just stepped up.
The entire team did really good, but like Opal right here is an absolute menace.
Z-Beam was the second one up as well. Clefable, by the way, was also one of the main heroes from the first game to boot there. That was incredible from Clams, as we do possibly get more stats to boot. And yeah, as I mentioned before, Clefable and Z-Beam were doing just that. If there's any more sets that Neptune does want to show up. Yep, Opal again still continuing to lead their team in splats there. Again, Goomies, again, huge shout out there. Bubble really trying to do their best to help save their team as much as can with the 14, but ultimately wasn't enough for Goomies there out of VCU. But I got again. I believe we'll be getting the next stat up there with Tower Control being the finale one. Got up here. Yes, again, now a balanced stat from UCSD Navy. Same deal with Goomies, but it didn't mean a whole lot there. But I know I've been talking about UCSD Navy so much, but a lot of credit to Goomies there. They had a stellar season. You go 4-1 in the regular season. You only lost to UCSD Navy. You were still definitely a step above the rest. You just happened to run into the team that gave you so many problems throughout the regular season. And surely enough, you just happened to run into them in the 3rd place match. But this should not discount any of your efforts throughout. 2nd place in your group, a 4-1 record to boot over a group of 6 is still really, really good.
Yeah, it's very impressive, and just one last time, I want to say good job to everybody on Goomies who did great, and congratulations to UCSD Navy for getting that 3rd place victory.
Definitely, and and honestly, I think both teams just really played their hearts out when it absolutely mattered the most. There is Neptune, our producer Neptune really is just trying to spin around for the audience, which ultimately means I think this is our time to start signing off here. I was going to say shining off here, but signing off here in just a quick for a moment there. But it was fun casting this one with you, Rennie. Where can the people find you?
They can find me on YouTube at TGP Ranny. That is T as in testosterone, I guess. G as in gators, and P as in peanuts. Ranny, R-A-N-Y. That is where you'll find me most of the time. What about you?
All right. I'm gonna say this up front. I'm gonna apologize to production because this will be the most long-winded plug here. You guys can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and on Twitch, Kiln2570. Twitter and Blue Sky, I just post whatever nonsense I feel like posting there. And then on Twitch, I do stream Splatoon, but I'm also primarily a variety. I play all sorts of games, so smash the follow buttons for all. Smash a button for all three of those places if you want to find me. Now, the reason why I want to making this long-winded because this is the last broadcast for the season 4. I want to give a huge shout out, by the way, all the TOs that made the CCA League the 4th season in a row possible, especially with the growth that they have. Huge shout outs by the way to production staff: Neptune, DRF, Vapor. Splatcat, I think, was another one. Jorian, and I think there's one more. Oh yeah, Oma Zen for just the amazing production that you guys have brought all season. All the partners that I've worked with throughout the season as well. And then all the commentators that have brought you guys all the action across, not just CCA Splatoon, but also the other channels, especially yesterday there on Splatoon 20 for the rest of Grand Finals. You guys have done such a phenomenal job. And of course, shoutouts to all the players and captains out there who participated in the CCA League and gave it their all every step of the way. I hope you guys enjoyed the CCA League as much as, of course, you had Rennie as much as I have. But I hope this set was fun to watch for all of you guys who are tuning in, and of course for you, Rennie. But But any last words before I sign us off, Rennie?
No, I'd just like to say for everybody that is currently watching, I would appreciate like a huge round of applause. I can't hear you, but like giving a round of applause to the tournament organizers, managers, staff team of the CCA. They've made a really enjoyable experience for us all, I do believe, and just thank you to everybody here. Yeah,
for sure. But for now, that was one last broadcast in season 4, so we're gonna get the heck out of Dodge. So with Neptune production, Rennie and my co-com, I'm Kiln saying thank you guys for tuning in to the CCA to a presentation of the CCA League 4th season 4, especially. My apologies on that one. Your final score for the 3rd place matchup in Division 4: UCSD Esports Navy 5, Goomies 1. We'll see you guys next time.